Yo, what up, chat? Yo, we got a banger today. I'm not sure. I just I just saw this title, the real reason Trump pardoned NBA Youngboy. Let's react to it. But first, let me put my hoodie on. All right. I bro, it's for the video, and I'm cold. I'm bald, bro. All right, let's go.
NBA. Youngboy has been arrested
NBA
for
Youngboy.
attempted murder, a kidnapping, a killing in Miami, 2 federal gun cases, and a 60-count fraud ring. And he keeps walking out like none of it ever happened. Every time the walls close in, something reaches down and pulls him out. And the last time it happened, it was the President of the United States. But the reason isn't luck.
I want to know the real reason, just like the title says. All right.
And it isn't good lawyers. It's a
This is
number
just a random
so
video.
big that putting this man in a cell
keep that in
costs
mind.
powerful people a fortune. And once you see it, you'll understand why they can't afford to let him fall. To answer that, we gotta go back.
I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people making money under Youngboy, so that makes sense.
Back to where it started, because Youngboy didn't build this on his own. The place he came from built it into him. Kentrell Gaulden was born on October 20th, 1999.
Are they? Oh no, wait, that's a paddle, right? Oh my! I thought they were blurring like a gun. All right, okay, I think that's a toy. Okay.
In Baton Rouge,
My
Louisiana.
fault.
And if you know anything about Baton Rouge, you know it's one of the roughest cities in the country. Serious gang activity and a kind of poverty that doesn't
Baton Rouge or Baton Rogue? Baton Rouge.
let go of you once it has its grip. His father caught a 55-year prison sentence when Kentrell was still a baby, so his grandmother raised him. As a toddler, he broke his neck wrestling and had to wear a brace until it healed, which is where those scars on his forehead come from. He grew up in the middle of all of it, and he lived it long before scars on his forehead come.
This is a random video, so I'm gonna take everything with a pinch of salt. He said he broke his neck wrestling, so I guess he had to wear a brace. Although he meant the scars like on his forehead.
He grew up in the middle of all of it, and he lived it long before he ever rapped about it. He dropped out in 9th grade. At 14, he bought a microphone from Walmart and started recording. And before the music ever turned into anything, he got arrested for robbery and did 6 months in a juvenile facility in Tallulah, where he started writing his first songs. By the time he got out, his
Again, I'm just reacting to the video. Okay, just putting that out there.
Mother had passed. He moved in with a friend, another Baton Rouge rapper named NBA33, and the two of them were committing crimes just to pay for studio time. So when you hear him rap about this stuff,
that's crazy.
Understand, it's not content. He actually lived every bit of it. That's exactly what made him blow up. He dropped his first tape, Life Before Fame, in 2015. Then, in October 2016, came 38 Baby, and that one took off. Millions of views. Co-signs from Baton Rouge legends like Boozy and Kevin Gates. Kids from the same kind of place heard him rapping about death and paranoia and burying his friends, and they knew he meant it.
With Base 44,
that's crazy.
3 years, he'd stack 3 #1 albums, Friends, and they
imagine being like 14, 15, 16, and like, talking about like resting your friends. What?
He knew he meant it. Within 3 years, he'd stack 3 #1 albums in under a year, something only DMX had ever done. But that same city gave 1 albums in under a year, something only DMX had ever done. But that same city gave him something that shows up in every single case he's ever faced. In Baton Rouge, you don't talk to police. Not because it's some slogan, because people there have watched what happens to the ones who cooperate. And they know the state can't keep them safe when it's over. So witnesses go quiet. Statements get walked back. Keep that in the back of your mind, because it's about to turn into a pattern. One quiet witness is a coincidence. What happens to this man over the next 10 years is a streak. And a streak that long usually means somebody's got a reason to keep it going. So let's get into that first case, because it set the blueprint for everything that came after. In November of 2016, Youngboy was still an up-and-comer, riding the buzz off 38 Baby. Then
it's crazy how like time flies and time is like now we see that, and then now he's like here.
And
That's
U.S.
crazy.
Marshals arrested him in Austin,
That's like with anybody. Like today I'm here, and then tomorrow I'm gonna eat like at Dunkin' Donuts or something. My fault.
Texas,
Let's
right
go back to
before
the
a
video.
concert. The charge wasn't small. Prosecutors said that back in Baton Rouge, he jumped out of a vehicle and opened fire on a group of people standing on a South Baton Rouge street.
Okay, I would I wouldn't like I wouldn't do it like so he's I can't even do it. I can't even react it.
2 counts of attempted first-degree
I can't even
murder.
reenact
Sit with
it.
that for a second. He was 16 when it happened, and the state
I just want to sit here and react. What?
charged him as an adult. Attempted murder is the kind of charge that ends a career before it starts. We're talking decades in prison.
Who?
For a kid who just gotten his first taste of real attention, this should have been the end of the story. And they didn't have a thin case. There was a shooting, there were victims, there was a vehicle, and they'd identified Youngboy as one of the shooters.
Was he by himself?
On paper,
Like,
the state had what it needed to put him away for a very long time. But here's where that Baton Rouge factor kicks in for the first time. To convict someone of a drive-by, you need people willing to get on a stand and say what they saw. And in those neighborhoods, that's exactly what you're never going to get. The people who could
I get that part, but like if that's the case, like wouldn't you just okay, I get it. Wouldn't people just like be like, yo, yeah, I saw it without them really seeing it? Isn't that like a problem?
have testified understood the math better than any lawyer. You don't cooperate because cooperating doesn't come with any protection once the trial's over. So the case that looked solid started coming apart at the seams. He sat in jail from December 2016 through the following.
All right, yeah, I'm reacting to the video. I get like stuff like that's said and that's happened is like serious. Like I'm just a reactor, bro. Like
Summer, and even locked
Don't
up,
take me
he
too
kept
serious.
dropping music, re-releasing tapes and putting out songs like Win or Lose
And I'm not trying to
that
be
fans ate
disrespectful.
up while he was behind bars. The legend was growing while the case was shrinking. By the time it was over, the two
did I see a one-way sign up on a motorcycle? Hold on.
re-releasing tapes and putting out songs like
It
Win
might be
or
AI.
Lose that fans ate up while he was
Hold on.
behind bars. The legend
What? Right there.
was
That's somebody popping a wheelie, and that sign is under the four quad. I mean the vehicle. That's Aura. What the?
growing while the case was shrinking. By
That's
the time it was
all
over, the 2 counts of attempted murder were gone. In August of 2017, he took a plea to a single count of aggravated assault with a firearm. A 10-year sentence, fully suspended, 3 years of probation, no active prison time. He walked out and a week later dropped a single called Untouchable. And that's really where it started for him. That feeling. You catch 2 attempted murder charges as a teenager, you're staring down decades. And then you just walk. That does something to a person. The bravado you see in him for the rest of his career, that sense he can do whatever he wants and always land on his feet, it traces right back to here. The system took its best shot and missed. And if this were the only time, you'd call it exactly what it looks like. A kid from a city that won't talk to police catching a break. Remember,
It's crazy. Like NBA Youngboy's career could have ended at that point. That's crazy how like things turn.
Remember that explanation because it works for a while. Because right as that first case
For
was
the
wrapping
best of
up,
him?
Youngboy's career went vertical. The back half of 2017 into 2018 is when he stopped being a Baton Rouge name and became a national one. A deal with Atlantic Records put major label money and machinery behind him for the
By the way, I have a green screen, so like that. That's what. All right.
Hey, yo, what the
first time.
That's-
Then in
that's-
January 2018, he dropped Outside Today. That song hit the top 40, went quadruple
Outside
platinum,
Today.
and became the anthem.
Yo, Chad, can I be like if I wanted to, right? Not that I want to, but like, no, I can't. Yeah, no.
That introduced him to
I'll-
millions
I'll
of
let-
people
I'll let
who've
Youngboy
never
handle
touched a
the
mixtape.
rapping.
His debut album, Until Death Call My Name, landed in the top 10. He was 19, with real money for the first time in his life. Kids were on the way.
Real
His
money, yeah,
relationships
outside in
were
his
messy,
hand.
public, and playing out in front of millions online. The pain was still all over the music, but now he was living a completely different life than the one that created it. And that's the thing about Youngboy. The chaos in his personal life.
What they say, you could take the guy. All right,
Never slowed down
just
to
keep
match
going.
the success.
You
If
know
anything,
what I'm talking
it
about.
sped up. Which brings us to Georgia. In February of 2018, an outstanding warrant caught up with him for assault, kidnapping, and weapons charges. This one wasn't about a street shooting.
Did I see that correctly? Are you allegedly, right?
Up with him for assault, kidnapping, and weapons charges. This one wasn't about a street shooting. It was about his girlfriend at the time. Prosecutors said surveillance cameras in a hotel in Waycross, Georgia, caught him body slamming her in a hallway and then dragging her into a room. They said blood was found in that room afterward. On paper, that's a horrific case, and it's the kind that's very hard to walk back because it's not a he said, she said. It's on camera. So how did it end? A $75,000 bail and not much else. And the reason comes down to one person, the girlfriend herself. She went public to deny that any abuse ever happened, and she didn't do it once. She made it her mission to take the heat off him, going on camera more than once to insist the case wasn't what it looked like. Here's how that actually works. You can have the whole thing on CCTV. You can have the buildup on video for everybody to see. But if the alleged victim gets up and says nothing criminal happened, the prosecution loses its foundation. The key witness and the victim are the same person, and when that person won't cooperate, the case has nowhere to stand. So the picture's still simple. He's a guy who knows how to make a case disappear, whether it's a street full of people who won't talk or someone close to him who takes the heat off. That's the story a lot of people stop at.
I think when we come up in like that sort of environment, it's kind of like the way it goes, right? Like I'm assuming you growing up, you don't have a lot of money, and then you just like street stuff going around, and then you just see stuff happening. So it's like, why would I mean, if you're logical and you're in that environment, you'll be like, why would I put myself? Why would I attach myself? Why would I connect myself to that? Right? If heard things and I seen things, like, so like the most logical thing is like, yo, I don't know, I didn't see nothing, officer. He went that way. No. All right.
But what's coming next reaches a lot higher than the streets of Baton Rouge. By the time 2019 came around, Youngboy wasn't a rapper with buzz anymore. He was a machine, one of the most streamed artists alive, dropping music faster than the industry could package it, with a fan base that treated every release like an event. His personal life was spinning in every direction at once. Multiple kids, multiple mothers, relationships that detonated in public and got stitched into the songs a week later. The pain that built him was still the engine. He was just running it at 140 miles an hour now. And that speed is exactly what kept putting him in rooms where things went wrong. Which is how we get to my speed is
Is he in a chokehold? Nah, she's grabbing his jacket.
exactly what kept putting him in rooms where things went wrong, which is how we get to Miami, May 2019. He's booked for Rolling Loud, one of the biggest rap festivals in the country. But the thing that matters didn't happen on stage. It happened on Mother's Day, outside the Trump International Beach Resort where he was staying. He's walking out with his people when a Cadillac Escalade rolls up, and someone inside just starts shooting at him. A real ambush. His girlfriend at the time, Kaylin Long, takes a round to the shoulder. A 5-year-old kid nearby gets grazed. And Youngboy's crew, legally armed, opens fire back at the Escalade. Then comes the part that turns this from a headline into a tragedy. In that crossfire, a bullet kills a 43-year-old man named Mohammed Dradi, sitting in his van across the street. He worked in the area. He had nothing to do with any of it. He died on Mother's Day because he was parked near a rapper he probably never listened to. Now here's where it stops adding up. A man is dead. The bullets came from Youngboy's own entourage.
I mean, when you put it like that. All right.
And when the smoke clears, not one person in his camp is charged with anything. Miami-Dade police rule it self-defense.
Again, they were, they were strapped legitimately. They were attacked. So what would they be charged?
His people were fired on first, and everybody detained walks. Somebody died, and the
Oh my God, that's what I just said.
machine around Youngboy absorbed it like it was nothing. And think about where this is happening. This is Miami, a different state, a different police force, thousands of witnesses with phones. The one explanation we've been leaning on, that his hometown protects him, doesn't even apply here, and he still comes out clean. The only thing that touched him was his own paperwork. Being at a shooting, around guns, violated the probation from his 2016 case. That got him 90 days, a 14-month performance ban, and house arrest. That's the whole bill for a Mother's Day shooting that left a man dead. And this is the turning point, so pay
Well, again, like, it wasn't like he started the altercation, right? And also, it happened without like, he didn't have control of that. But like, I guess he had yeah, paperwork. Like, he had okay, not not like the not like the not paperwork, like,
attention.
just keep going.
Everything
Keep
you've
going.
watched up to now, he did himself. His silence, his connections,
bad
his
paper-
hometown, his
or-
lawyers.
Whatever, bro.
Guys, if you're still balding,
Draw a straight line from Youngboy to every escape. But starting right about here, that line stops being straight. Because what happens next, he could not have pulled
Trying to find news.
off on his own. The next time the system comes for him, it comes with the full weight of the federal government, the people who win 90% of the time and almost never lose.
I heard 90%, like he just said. I heard 95%. I think one time I heard 99%. I guess it fluctuates, but like, okay.
And that's the exact moment his luck gets impossible to explain. Because what he was worth by this point had stopped making normal sense. In 2021, he dropped Sincerely Kentrell while he was sitting in a jail cell, and it debuted at #1. Only 2 artists in history had ever put out a chart-topping album from behind bars, Tupac and Lil Wayne. He was locked up
crazy.
and still outselling rappers who were free and on tour. His YouTube channel was climbing toward 15 billion views. He was releasing music so
Excuse me? Okay. I mean, he does bring out a lot of music out. So like, yeah. I mean, and it's good. So it's like, yes. Let me see. What? How many views does my YouTube? All right. Let's keep
fast,
going.
the industry couldn't keep up.
Let's just keep
Over
going.
140 projects and songs across his career. A huge chunk of them recorded while he was fighting cases or under house arrest. Sit with what that means, because it changes the whole story. Wherever you put NBA Youngboy, a jail cell, house arrest, federal supervision, he prints cash. For himself, for his
Again, let's learn from this, right? I'm not giving advice or nothing. I'm just like putting it out there. Yeah, like if you around certain stuff and you do certain stuff, which is bad, considered bad, and you keep doing it, like, it's bound to get you in trouble. All right, that's the nicest way I could put it. All right.
label, for the streaming platforms, for everyone standing near his career taking a cut. And that's when the question quietly flips. For the first half of his story, the question was, how does he keep
So just stay in your room, do your work, never talk to anybody. All right, never mind.
getting out? But once he's a one-man industry making money from inside a cell, a different question creeps in. Not how does he get out? Who actually wants him in? Because a young boy in prison and a young boy free are worth wildly different amounts of money. And when someone generates that kind of money for that many powerful
Wait, hold on. Yo, that make. Oh my God. No. Let's hear it.
people, there's an incentive sitting under everything, spoken or not, to keep that machine running. Nobody has to send a memo. Nobody has to make a call. The pressure exists on its own. I can't tell you there's some secret room where they decided to protect him. Nobody can prove that. But watch what the pattern does once he crosses into this level of value. Before, the escapes had street explanations. Now he's beating the federal government itself and walking out bigger than he walked in. He even started daring them, right in the music. On house arrest in that Utah mansion, he turned it into a studio and kept recording, openly taunting the feds, rapping about them knowing his name-dropping Utah while he was literally sitting in it. Most people under federal supervision try to disappear. Youngboy was releasing songs about it, because he'd learned the lesson over and over. They come for him, and somehow he stays free. Until 2024, when one case finally came along that his money, his lawyers, and his silence had no answer for. For almost 3 years, he'd been in that Utah mansion on house arrest, waiting on his Baton Rouge trial. And in April of 2024, the case that got him didn't come from a shooting or a gun. Cache County police raided the mansion and arrested him for allegedly running a prescription fraud ring out of the house.
The scheme was specific. Someone would call a pharmacy pretending to be a real doctor, using that doctor's actual DEA number and credentials, and order promethazine with codeine, the syrup used to make lean. Fake patient names, fake birthdays. Then Youngboy's associates would drive around picking the orders up from different pharmacies. Investigators tied at least 15 of them across the state to it. When they searched the mansion, they found the drugs under the fake names and, again, a gun. He ended up facing 63 charges: identity fraud, forgery, obtaining prescriptions under false pretenses, stacked 20
I'm guessing this was his estate under his name, I guess.
counts deep. And this one had a problem none of the others did. Every time before, what saved him was that the evidence came down to a person, a witness who went quiet, a victim who recanted, a gun nobody could pin to him. You can't do any of that to a pharmacy's phone records. Documents don't get scared, and paper doesn't.
It's crazy, right? So like what I said, like you keep doing bad stuff. I mean, even like Youngboy is like super famous, right? So like, yo, the federales are gonna be like, I'm assuming, right? They're gonna be like tapped in, literally or figuratively. I don't know, metaphorically. So yeah, keep doing bad stuff. Bad stuff's gonna happen to you. Um, and I'm not giving advice to nobody. I'm just putting it out there, bro. Okay. I'm a good boy, but.
Recant. Then came the part that had to hurt. The man beat the feds because they could
If you want to
never
listen to
put
it, you
words
can
in his
listen to it.
mouth. And what cracked this case was his own voice. Police pulled his car over during a pickup, then got him on a phone call. And at one point, thinking he was on mute, he was caught saying, "Ask him about the prescription that they picked up." Everything he'd built ran on saying nothing and leaving no trace. And there he was on a recorded line asking about the exact prescriptions at the center of the case. His way of saying that one word, ax, instead of ask, was part of how they'd identified him to begin with. A federal judge voided the house arrest and ordered him into custody. And this time, there was no slipping out. In December of 2024, he took a global plea that closed the Utah charges and both federal gun cases in one move. Guilty, 23 months. So after 10 years, they finally had him. Convicted, sentenced, on his way to federal prison. The streak was over. And then, 5 months later, the President of the United States personally erased it. On May 28, 2025, Donald Trump signed a pardon for Kentrell Gaulden, a full presidential pardon, wiping the federal conviction.
I think I've read before. It was like from a year. Like he was pardoned for everything from that day to a year prior. So anything before a year wasn't pardoned or something like that.
Conviction off the board completely, along with the 5 years of probation, the drug testing, and the $200,000 fine that came with it. And think about the timing.
It was all for the drug related thing.
He'd been released to home confinement back in March, with a massive comeback tour already being planned. Probation would have meant drug tests, travel restrictions, supervision, all the things that make it hard to tour and run a business.
That's
and
crazy.
right at that moment, the most powerful man in the world cleared all of it away, handing Youngboy a clean slate at the exact moment he needed one to get back to making money. Every other escape in this story you could trace to something on the
Are they locked in? Okay, never mind.
ground.
Sorry.
The streets, the lawyers, a jury, the money. A presidential pardon doesn't come from any of that. It comes from one man in the Oval Office deciding your case is worth his signature. And here's the part that keeps people up at night.
Okay, why?
Youngboy has no obvious connection to Donald Trump. He's not a political figure. He didn't campaign for him. The pardon came in a batch alongside reality TV
Neither was Carter Black, right?
stars and politicians. In a stretch of clemency, Trump's own pardon office described with the phrase, "No MAGA left behind." When reporters looked at the list, Youngboy was one of the names that made the least sense being on it. He thanked Trump, the pardon czar Alice Marie Johnson, and his attorney, and moved on. No real explanation for how a Baton Rouge rapper landed on the desk of the President of the United States. So step back and look at the whole shape of it. For 10 years, the answer to how he keeps getting out had an address. The streets that wouldn't talk. The girlfriend who recanted, the jury that doubted, the lawyers who delivered. But the higher he climbed and the more valuable he became, the higher the help seemed to come from, until the final save didn't come from Baton Rouge, or a courtroom, or a defense team at all. It came from the White House. That's the pattern that makes people say the word plant, a protected asset, somebody too valuable to too many important people to ever actually be allowed to fall. 10 years, attempted murder, a kidnapping, a man dead in
R.I.P.
Miami, 2 federal gun cases.
Yeah, like valuable, bro. I hear people bumping Youngboy when I'm like out. Okay.
A 60-count fraud ring. Any one of them buries a normal man. He walked through all of them. Maybe that's the luckiest man alive. Or maybe, somewhere along the way, he became too valuable to too many powerful people to ever be allowed to fall. I know where I land. The question is whether you think a man gets this lucky, this many times, on his own. Drop it in the comments. Subscribe.
All right. Yo, did you like this video? If not, JK, don't forget to subscribe, follow, hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button. Let me see. Peace.